I wanted to talk about a couple of fascinating facts about what we actually have in our universe. When I said I was a nerd, people, I meant more than just video games and comics. Not going to rank them or anything like that, but just wanted to cover a couple of things that I actually think are just fascinating in the universe. And for anyone hoping, by the way, real quick off the top, for anyone hoping that this makes the list of what I will talk about here, no, aliens will not be a part of it, considering outside of footage that we got from the government that all look to have been taped by a camera from the 1950s or 60s. We don't really have real tangible things to tie with aliens, so they won't be talked about here. Speaking of, how are we in 2021 and we still can't get clear footage of a UFO? I don't understand this. It's beyond me. But anyways, on to the topic. Let's start with a planet that has been a planet, then has not been a planet as of 2006, to finally being reinstated as a planet, I think, in Pluto. Did you know that Pluto doesn't always stay completely frozen? I know you might think, of course it does, since it's so far away from the sun, but it doesn't, and here's why. Pluto isn't made of ice like we commonly see here on Earth, but made out of nitrogen that freezes at around negative 346 degrees Fahrenheit. Pluto, for the most part, stays around negative 400 degrees, but there are rare times when it's closest to the sun that Pluto temperature rises slightly above the minus 346 degrees, which causes its ice to melt. The other fascinating thing is that one of the 5 moons that Pluto has, named Charon, always has the same face and doesn't rotate like our moon does due to a phenomenon that's called tidal locking. Basically, tidal locking is when a moon or a planet still actually rotates around the sun, but the planet itself or the moon itself doesn't actually spin like our planet does, how it goes from day to night, that sort of thing. The next fascinating fact out there in space is that our solar system is nowhere near the center of the known universe. According to studies done by NASA, we're about 165 quadrillion miles away from what we figure is the center of the universe, which also happens to be a supermassive black hole. Speaking of black holes, most black holes are formed by a collapsing star. The size of the star that collapsed will determine just how big the black hole will be. Also, another fun fact about black holes really quick is that black holes actually do not suck anything in. Now, if you're on the surface of the black hole, you can actually pass by it. It's when you get near the center is when it actually starts to pull you in. In our solar system, thankfully, there hasn't been a black hole discovered, but there have been several million black holes found in our galaxy that we live in, also known as the Milky Way. For anyone that I might have scared to death talking about black holes and potentially being sucked into your doom, on record, the closest to us is roughly 1,000 light years away, and that black hole was actually nicknamed the unicorn by many in the astronomy community. If you have made it this far into the segment, then you, sir or ma'am, are either a nerd yourself or just captivated by space, and that means that I haven't bored you to tears and put you to sleep, which is good. Everyone else, hang in there. I have a couple of more fascinating facts about where we want to boldly go where no person has gone before, and then I'll be out your hair with space, the final frontier. The next thing I wanted to mention is that space isn't as far away as one might think. Fred Hoyle, a famed astronomer back in the 1970s, once theorized that if possible to drive a car straight up into space, going at about 60 miles an hour, it would take you about 1 hour. Now, I live in Texas, and you can't drive to the other side of Dallas in an hour. So it's crazy to think that space is closer than, say, Plano is to Duncanville. The last fascinating fact about space that I wanted to bring up that I thought was interesting is in space, there is a such thing as hot ice. In an exoplanet named Gliese, the temperature of the planet is an estimated, I believe, a whopping 570 degrees Fahrenheit, which you would think would evaporate any water on sight, but not this ice. Also, in case no one knows what an exoplanet is, it's basically a planet that exists outside of our solar system. Back to the hot ice, the reason why this ice actually stays frozen is due to pressure on this planet that is so extreme that the ice that is there always stays frozen. Like it's almost like some estimate that it's about 80 times Earth's gravity, which of course with that type of pressure just keeps it condensed. So as fast as it would probably melt and evaporate, it's getting pushed right back down, which is pretty damn cool. It's estimated that this ice is the same temperature as that planet, so 570 degrees Fahrenheit, which means if you were to put it in a frozen drink here, it would instantly heat that drink up and cause it to actually start boiling. Granted, that exoplanet is about 33 light years away from our planet, but still a pretty cool concept to think about.